Hey friends, welcome back to my channel and happy 2019. This is my first video of the new year, and this is actually not a tutorial as you saw from the title of the video. Now that some of the hype has died down from the James Charles Morphe palette, I actually wanted to give some follow-up thoughts. So I know that not all of the hype has died down. I know every time it comes back in stock, it still sells out, which is absolutely amazing. I'm so happy for the success of this palette. I love that so many people have been inspired to do colorful looks. Colorful looks are definitely my favorite to do. But I was lucky enough to get it the first time it went on sale on Morphe. So I've had now a couple of months to play with it. So I just wanted to kind of share with you some thoughts that I have. For some of you maybe that don't have it yet and were still kind of thinking about it and wanted maybe smaller makeup enthusiasts' opinions on it. So I just kind of wanted to check back in with you all about the James Charles palette. So that's what this video is going to be, just kind of talking about not just the James Charles palette. I'm going to compare it to a few others. So if you're interested in some random girl's thoughts on the James Charles palette, go ahead and keep watching. It's not going to be bashing it. I'm going to say some good things, some neutral things, and maybe some more negative things, but it's just my honest opinion. So I'm going to get right into it. So I'm going to start off by saying some positive things about it. I don't think I can talk about it without showing it. I am very, very happy I have the palette. I don't want this video to come off, I don't want you to walk away thinking anything else. I love the palette. I love all the colors. And one really positive thing I think about this palette is that James Charles said he wanted you to be able to have this palette and do any look with it. And I think that that is overall true. I think that if you're at home and you don't have a million palettes and you want to just have 2 or 3 palettes and be able to do a variety of looks, I think he's right. You can do that with this, and I do like that about this palette. I could bring this on vacation and I could do a soft glam look. I can do a colorful look. I can do anything I want to do. Basically, where I think that that's wrong is there are lots of looks that I want to do where I have a specific color in mind. You know, I'm inspired by a tropical bird, or I'm inspired by, you know, this thing in nature, or, you know, this specific dress that I'm going to wear, and I need specific colors. And that's not anything negative to him in particular. That's, you know, any palette, any one palette isn't going to have every color I want. But that being said, this palette is supposed to have replaced the 35B, and so that's one of my first kind of follow-up thoughts to this palette. So the James Charles palette, this guy right here, was supposed to replace Morphe's 35B palette, which is still to this day my all-time favorite palette. Morphe had discontinued this palette before the James Charles palette was launched. So now that I've had some time to think about it, I don't think that that was a good decision, and I wish Morphe would bring the 35B back for several reasons. And the most important reason being the 35B is pretty much 31 colorful colors, whereas the James Charles palette is pretty much half a palette of colorful colors. Now, before I started filming this, I kind of counted how many colors from the 35B, the original rainbow palette Morphe had, were really in the James Charles palette. And the white and the black are obviously in there, and then the 35B kind of had these 2 tan colors, which are almost identical, but this one has shimmer in it. So I kind of think that these 3 were in the James Charles palette. But other than that, I think that only 13 of the colors, the rainbow colors, are in the James Charles palette. I was being generous. So I included this color as being in the palette for this, which I think is kind of a stretch. So that's just to give you an example of I was trying to be nice when I counted 13 colors from the 35B as being in the James Charles palette. So one of my criticisms to Morphe is I don't see why they can only have one rainbow palette. I love the James Charles palette, but I still love the 35B palette, and now there's going to be a lot of people who can't also get this one. There's so many rainbow lovers in the world, and if any of you all have perused through Morphe's eyeshadow palettes, they have a ton of like fall looking or brown looking, or, you know, so many natural looking eyeshadow palettes. Why would it kill them to have 2 rainbow palettes. I mean, the James Charles one is so amazing, and I don't think that having the 35B also would hurt his sales. So I really wish that they would have both. I obviously have both, so it's not even for me. I just wish that for other consumers, they would just continue to have both. They're both good palettes. But, I mean, there have been looks where I've had to pull the 35B out. I mean, for example, this teal color, this is not in the James Charles palette. This dusty purple, this is not in the James Charles palette. There's more shimmers in here than there are in the James Charles palette. He couldn't fit everything in his. I'm not saying that everything in the 35B should have been in the James Charles. That's not my criticism here. My criticism is to Morphe, that I feel like they could carry both products. So that's kind of my first follow-up thought, is that I don't understand why they can't still carry both items. So that's kind of my first big thought on that. But circling back to what I was saying, if you only have a few palettes at home and you want to stay that way, I think that the James Charles palette is a really good palette for you. If you have tons of palettes at home and you kind of collect them and you like having them like me, then I definitely don't regret having this. But if you already have the 35B and you already have a lot of colorful palettes and you have the neutral staples, then you might not need this. I mean, yeah, it's a huge hype right now. The quality is pretty good. But also keep in mind that a lot of these colors are pressed pigments, so you do need to work with them differently. I commend James Charles on warning everybody about that. I think it's unfortunate that that turned into drama somehow. I think that he did a really good job of handling it, and you do just need to know that some of the colors have to be handled differently. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But then the other kind of part two of this little shorter video that I wanted to talk about was just to compare this palette to some other palettes, just to give you all an idea of some other things on the market. The one part of the reveal video when James Charles was talking about the palette that rubbed me the wrong way. So I'm an attorney in real life, and I hope I didn't just out myself and make all of you hate me now. But I have a very analytical mind, and I don't like statements that are kind of all-encompassing. And when he was talking about the shade, what is it called? You're Kidding, which is his bright red color, he said there's no other red on the market. He couldn't, there's no other red. He couldn't find a red. This is the first pure red, you know, no orange, no brown in it. There's no shimmer, to which I took offense. There are definitely some reds. One of them is in a palette called the Tropical Wonders palette from Certify. But I'm also bringing this palette up because if you maybe don't like Morphe, I personally love Morphe, my criticism aside. I think they are a good bang for your buck, and I really do like their products. But maybe you don't like Morphe and you're looking for some other rainbow palettes. The Tropical Wonders palette from Certified is really, really good. I got this for my birthday, if you missed that video. And I've been going into this a lot. This is 18 shades, but it has Red Sea and Equator. Red Sea is a little more orange, but Equator is pretty much a true red. And these were already out. This palette was already out when the James Charles palette came out, just as an aside. But the colors are really, really good. Certify actually has a total of 4 palettes. I have 3 of them. Just to quickly show you, this is the Dynasty palette. They all have really pretty color stories. And this is the Destiny palette, so a little more on the tame side as far as colors go. And then their newest palette, the Affinity palette, has a kind of more romantic color story. It's more pinks and purples, a little yellow in it. I do want that one. So Certify is another option if you guys are looking for other rainbow palettes instead of Morphe. Like I said, they are in England, so if you are in America, then they are going to be a little more for shipping. And I think their prices are fair for the quality that you're getting. And then another, I think I would still call this brand an indie brand. Another red that was floating around from another really good company is Juvia's Place. If you don't have any palettes from them, I highly recommend trying them out. They often have sales. You can get up to 30, maybe even 50% off if you catch them at the right time. But this palette alone, this is the Festival palette, and this has this dark red and then like orangey. I mean, this, well, that's just an orange. But this had a red as well. And I have I think 7 or 6 Juvia's Place palettes. Huge pan size. I'm never gonna run out of one of their colors. Really, really blendable, so pigmented. It is owned and operated by women of color, which I absolutely love. So love this brand in general. If you want to try them out and you are looking for rainbow palettes, I would recommend the Zulu palette. It's one of their smaller ones. Their smallest palettes, eyeshadow palettes, are 9 pans. And there's this one. Or if you want to try them out and you are willing to get one of their full-size palettes, I would recommend do the Masquerade a lot. It has some good neutrals, but also really fun pops of color. So really can't recommend Juvia's Place enough. So that was it. I just, like I said, I had some thoughts on my chest and I wanted to share them with you all. Let me know in the comments if you agree or if you have a response. I will definitely be hopping back on and responding to any of your comments. But I do just want to close with the fact that, or reiteration, that I do really love the James Charles palette. I will be continuing to reach for it. It's a great palette. He did an amazing job. I just wanted to open and close with that, but even something you love can have its flaws. And Morphe is a company, I'm a consumer, I'm allowed also to have, you know, some criticisms for them. So, and as a consumer, I'm allowed to own from different companies. So, and because I'm lucky enough to have so much makeup, I wanted to share with you all in case you're still in the market for some fun rainbow looks. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please don't forget to subscribe and like and comment down below if you guys have any thoughts to share with me. Thanks so much.